What's good, YouTube? ZTM Duelist here. Welcome to my first video. First video on this channel is going to be a deck profile of one of my all-time favorite Cancerous decks. This is a 60 card Paleozoic Frog deck profile. Let's get started. First, run 3 Swap Frog, 3 Dupe. I love Dupe Frog because it's the attack magnet. It can protect your Toad. It's a really good card. It's the best frog in my opinion. And then 2 Running Toad. The 3 Swap, 3 Dupe, 2 Running. That's a self-explanatory generic frog ratio for this deck. And then 2 Absolute King Backjack for the Fiend Griefing combo. Really good card. And then last monster, 1 Mathematician. That's all the monsters. Now for the spells, we play 7 power spells. 3 Card Demise, 3 Pot of Desires, and then 1 Foolish Burial. And that's it for the spells. The rest of the deck is all traps. For the Paleo traps, 3 Paleozoic Olenoids, MST the deck, self-explanatory by now. And then the other one that's explanatory is Dynamiscus. This is the Karma cut of the deck. Damn good card. And the other 3 of is Paleozoic Morella. This is the Foolish Burial of Belongings for the deck. You send your breakthrough skills, your lost wins, and you just have a lot of disruption with this card. And then 3 Canadia. This is the Book of Moon for the deck. And then for the last Paleozoics, 2 Leonchoilias. I like this, especially with Desires, because you could put your Ronin Totems, your Swap Frogs, whatever you want, back into the graveyard from the Banish Zone. And another really cool thing you could do is put Backjack back into the graveyard, and its effect will kick off again. I did run this at 3, but I cut it down to 2 because it's situational, because you do have to have a card in the Banish Zone. That's why I think 2 is a perfect number. Because I usually search it off with Open Mini anyway. And I don't run the Paleozoic Pacaya because that requires you to keep a Paleo trap in your hand. And I like playing my traps, not keeping them in my hand. That's kind of my logic behind why I don't play Pacaya. And then for the rest of the traps, we have 3 Reckless Greed, draw power. And then rest of the battle traps, 2 Wabaku, 3 Quaking Mirror Force, and then 2 Drowning Mirror Force. I really like this ratio, especially like going first, setting 5 back row, and one of them being a Drowning, because it's just a blowout. Having your opponent overcommit and then attack into a Drowning Mirror Force. All their shit gets shuffled back into the deck. It's great. And then 2 D Barrier. Self-explanatory. Shuts off Zoo. Shuts off Pendulum decks. Ritual decks. Shuts off a lot of decks. I've always liked D Barrier. And then for some spell hate, main deck 2 anti-spells. I need to get a third one for the side. I'll have a third one in the side deck, but like until I can get that third one, all I have is 2, and then I'm main deck them. And then for the Solemn Brigade, 3 strikes and a warning. You don't get a Paleo chain off of these, but the Solemns are just too good not to play, especially in a trap heavy deck. And then besides warning is your one of your only outs to Denko Seko. And then for more spell hate, run 1 Imperial Order, 1 Unending Nightmare. I like Unending Nightmare because against Pendulums, just pay 1,000, blow up the scale, pay 1,000, blow up the scale. Eventually, 4,000 or 5,000 life points later, not going to have any scales, and then it'll just be a blowout game from there. And then for the 1-ofs, 1 Bottomless, 1 Torrential, 1 Compulse. These old meta trap cards, still really good. Gotta play them at 1 in a Paleo deck. And then for the Morella targets, run 2 loss win and 1 breakthrough skill. Really good, especially loss win. And then lastly, 2 Fiend Grief. That's it for the main deck. Now, go to the extra. In the extra, we run, of course, 3 Toads. Toads, self-explanatory, best rank 2 you could go into. Negations for days. And then 3 Opabenia. Opabenia, I would say, would be the next best rank 2. It's what you want to go into first because Opabenia makes the Toad. And then we have 2 Nomalocaris. Nomalocaris is boss monster of the deck. If you're going up against a deck that has a lot of big beaters, you want to make a Nomalocaris as soon as possible. And then for the other really good rank 2s, 1 Cat Shark, 1 Centauria, 1 Digusto Phoenix, and 1 Crumble Logos. I really like Crumble Logos because he's your out to Royal Decree. As long as he's on the field, just shuts Royal Decree off, then you can just keep going off with your plays. And then for the other extra deck monsters, run 1 Downer just so I could put it on top of Opabenia once I've exhausted its materials to put more pressure on my opponent. And then 1 F-Zero. And that's it for the extra deck. Now for the sideboard. Sideboard is not really, it's not 15 cards, but it's really all I need. 3 Imperial Iron Wall. Really good, shuts down Infernoids, any kind of road deck that runs Fairy Tale, any kind of ABC deck that you'd occasionally see running around. Anything that banishes heavily, Imperial Iron Wall will shut down. And then 3 Wiretap. I have these in for the mirror match, and then any other deck that runs a lot of traps. It also did a lot of work for me in a chain, like going against a chain burn player one time a while back. So I'll put these in against chain burn also. And then 2 Masker Restricts. I need a third one, but I had to trade one of them to a friend. But yes, normally I run 3 Masker Restricts against any kind of Kaiju heavy deck. And of course, True Dracos. And then the 1 Gamma Seal. I need another one of these. I run 2 Gamma Seals. Have them against any, I sided me against any deck that has big beaters, and then True Draco. And then 2 Barrier Statue of the Torrent. I mostly put these in against any kind of rogue deck. Blue Eyes, ABC, Light Sworn, any of those decks. Like Blue Eyes, they have no main deck out to this card. Like you normal summon this, like their biggest monster, biggest normal summon's a Stone, and Stone can't get over this. And then lastly, 1 Unending Nightmare. Have an extra one for any kind of pendulum deck or anything that runs a lot of face-up traps. Well, that's it for the main deck, you guys, and the side deck, and the whole deck. I'll have a lot more deck profiles coming up. This is just my first video. I have a lot more to come. So if you can, subscribe to the channel, and I'll have more content in the upcoming weeks. Peace.